This House believes that stand your ground laws do more harm than good. This House is the governing body of the state of Florida. By belief, we mean that the impact of stand your ground laws seems to us with evidence to be greater than if the stand your ground laws were changed to encourage fleeing and not automatically give the right to a person in Florida to use deadly force if they feel reasonably threatened. The Florida laws don't encourage retreat if possible, but rather allow the individual the immediate option to use lethal weapons. According to Jacob Sullum, a senior editor at Reason magazine and a nationally syndicated columnist, the stand your ground laws create a mentality that someone who's armed potentially has the right to use those firearms, even if there's a way for them to exit from the situation. Is it really going to be contributing to the kind of peace and security and order that we'd like to see? Political figures have agreed the law is in need of improvement. Senator David Simmons from Altamonte Springs told the Senate Judiciary Committee an interesting quote. Florida's stand your ground law has been the subject of intense public debate and scrutiny, and he thinks that people have, for the most part, found it an excellent common sense law. But it is not perfect. Although this House does not think these laws do no good, we simply believe they do more harm than good. Aaron Deslate, the Tallahassee bureau chief, said the law needs changing, but as it is, the terms are defined loosely and are not effective. He argues that a discussion needs to occur to be more specific and to include necessary clauses. He says that the law should require that law enforcement must conduct a full investigation in shootings, even if the law is claimed as a defense. One example is that Senate Judiciary Chairman Tom Lee provides is that the stand your ground law immunity does not apply in cases where the persons are engaged in quote-unquote unlawful activities. Unlawful activities, however, being used in cases where the person is an illegal immigrant. Is that justice, or is that more of an abuse of the system that provides unequal protection to the people at risk? President Obama joined Attorney General Eric Holder when they suggested that eliminating the duty to retreat for people attacked outside of their homes encourages unnecessary violence. Deslate Wright said it would be useful for us to examine some state and local laws to see if they are designed in such a way that they may encourage the kinds of altercations, confrontations, and tragedies rather than diffuse potential altercations. Republican Alan Williams of Tennessee has filed a bill to repeal stand your ground entirely. For those who resist the idea that we should think about something like these stand your ground laws, I just ask people to consider. If Trayvon Martin was of age and armed, could he have stood his ground on that sidewalk? And do we actually think that he would have been justified in shooting Mr. Zimmerman, who had followed him in a car because he felt threatened? And if the answer to that question is at least ambiguous, then it seems to me that we might want to examine those kinds of laws. Martin would not have justified in shooting Zimmerman simply because Zimmerman had been following him. But if Zimmerman had attacked him, Martin would have had a right to meet force with force, including deadly force, if he reasonably thought his life was in danger, which is not the same as merely feeling threatened. Again, the point here is that this House believes that the law does more harm than good. It encourages the idea that people don't have to flee, that they can, if they are readily armed from a person who they believe could hurt them, that they are allowed to use deadly force. If the law were to be changed to include specific wording that says that people are encouraged to flee, if possible, and their lives are not in immediate danger, then they'd be more likely to leave because they wouldn't have this law in the back of their head protecting them. People need to understand that just because you can hurt someone doesn't mean that you should if an alternative possibility is at stake. The self-defense laws and the stand your ground laws make this whole situation rather murky, but it is obvious that people